Okay, sanibona. Bongani Wilbert Mia. Ngizokhuluma nje into efishane, I hope, regarding church. I'm a born again Christian. I'm currently disobedient. I'm not going to church. And this has been since the year 2020, when pastors and bishops and prophets and apostles closed church, the very people who taught us no, not to never stop assembling with fellow believers, all the more when we see the day, which is the day of the Lord, approaching. Those are usually called baby teachings of the church, but we saw pastors closing church in 2020. So there are many things that had demoralized me within church for many years. I think when that happened in 2020, it kind of like was the last straw. So I want to go back to church. I'm just a bit, I'm still demoralized, because reality is it's not the 2020 COVID thing which made me sit only. It just came after many years of church presenting itself as a useless body which only cares about you attending church on Sunday and really doesn't care what happens to you during the week. It doesn't. So I'm a person who went all out to try and have church family, invest in people relationship, and now people are not available at church. People who are available are drunkards who have all the time in the world to support each other into drunkenness, into sitting in taverns, into promoting their lifestyle choice. But Christians are not. You have to beg and kneel down to even have a Christian brother. You've got to kneel down to have a Christian family. So I therefore got tired. By 2020, I really was tired. That is the first issue. But then the major other issue being finding yourself in the church and suffering physically in terms of physical needs. Whilst you're sitting next to managers in companies or in parastatals of the ANC, because most Christians are ANC managers in those parastatals where money is being stolen. So you can ask yourself, who's stealing the money? Because most Christians are working there. So for me, Christians are thieves, and they are very selfish and self-centered. So I guess one of the reasons they don't want us to get employed where they are employed is because we will see things that they do. I mean, it's funny, other people bring their relatives to work. Literally, people of Limpopo only employ Limpopoans into Gauteng, which is why they are occupying most of the positions. But a church person cannot do the same and employ church people as such, because reality is employment practices in South Africa are not based on merit, are not based on qualification. They're based on which tribe you are, which race. You've got preferential treatment if you're white, so it means white Christians prioritize whites, whether they are Christians or not. Indians do the same. So, and then, but black Christians, they don't help black Christians at all, even in terms of job placement at all. So you find, you go to other places, you find izangoma usabathi uyathenga kokunye lokuhlangana nale migexo yezangoma, because ziyafakana-ke in a way nazo. So Christians don't do that. Kusho ukuthi-ke yibona bodwa ababekhandelwe ukuthi babe ney'nkampani noma baqasheke or baphumelele, I guess, because I don't understand them. Now, let's say the situation in South Africa is like that, and then what have Christians done to and show ukuthi there's nobody inside the church who lacks. And I mean, Acts chapter 2 is in their face. They like reading these verses, but they like verse memorization and then showing us how many verses they can quote. Ngiyaxolisa ukuloko ngithi they, I'm very, very sorry about that. I'm part of the church. We like sharing verses, memory verses, but we don't really live according to those verses, put them into practice. Let me speak to rich people and people with money and able. All right. We have no duty to beg you to do what is required of you by the Bible that you say you believe, because it is a biblical instruction that you must take care of the poor in the house of God. It doesn't say tell us to go and pray better or have better faith. It didn't say that. It said you, when onemali or who is able, must share. It's, we're not speaking socialism sharing. It says you must share. There are guidelines in terms of helping the poor, because you don't help lazy people, you don't help people cursed by God, you don't help sorcerers, you don't help those kind of people. You help sinners, but the categories of people you don't help. You help according to the Holy Spirit, which is why it is safe to help those who are inside the house of the Lord. It helps you avoid many bad things that can happen to you when you're helping just about anybody, but being careful also to be hospitable to strangers. But there, because we've been hospitable to strangers and got harmed horribly. So there is a teaching which is lacking as to the assessment of a stranger, because there are many witches coming to our houses or lives parading themselves as strangers, and it hurts when you start seeing your finances going the other way for helping a stranger, and then the pain becomes good. Okay, well, I was not aware, so why didn't God protect me? So the likelihood being then that God didn't protect you, so that you can learn something as to how you then administer the required service of giving to the poor. It's a required service. It's not something that God is asking us to do. It's something that God expects us to do when you where is the verses, when you give you must, when you pray you must. So these are expected deeds. So there are people who are blessed or anointed to be money makers. The problem is that they think that money is theirs. Shame. So and there are a lot in the church. The only thing that they know better is to give tithes for the pastor and offerings, which is not wrong, but that's not their only duty. All right, we if you are a money maker, you are just like a pastor. You are just like a prophet, an apostle, a teacher, an evangelist. So that is the ministry God has bestowed upon you. So just like a pastor must then now administer that uh, office or ministry that God has anointed them, minister that to others, spread it. Like Pastor Nati, ngiyaqala ukulalela intshumayelo online. It's the first time, and funny enough, it just went to this subject that I'm talking about now. Pastor Nati Zondi wase-True Vine, ngahlangana nayo naleli bandla Peter Marisburg. I loved him. I believe he's one of the men of God. Ukubi South Africa was in a blessed state that would have really made a big impact in this country. We are in a bad state at this moment. So abantu who are supposed to be leaders are not leading. So selidwa abantu kufuze ngabe we are leading them. I'm a leader myself, but we are led by very foolish people, politically, business, in all areas of life. So the South African life is inverted. So if it was not inverted, Abo Bishop Nati Zondi would be in leadership of the church. All right, so I'm not speaking about leadership of his church or the church that Jesus Christ has bestowed upon for his daily responsibility, but I'm saying over the church at large. All right, so but yeah, I'm not there. I'm just saying I was just listening, and then you very well get a topic and being a post during the week. So I'm just emphasizing case mina set up your kerke. I'm not for it. Lento ka 2 hours with Sunday bese siyahlangana during the week for a home cell. Nah. I've always believed in what Durban Christians used to be in the 90s before they adopted Fathers of Faith of Soweto. Soweto has a spirit of selfishness and greed by its make. It's the major township of a people who came to a place called Johannesburg ukuzokhanda imali. So the drive is just like that. Abantu bakhona, they are friendly, but they're heartless. All right, so they can use you. They don't care about you right inside church. So I see, even now when I go to Durban, with the Durban nights have become like that. Damn, they are heartless now as Christians. Wow, I don't know what happened there. It's sad to see. So the family spirit that we used to see of Durban Christian is gone. It's gone. I'm a corporate Christian. They are disconnected altogether. They're meaningless to locations where their churches are planted. Imagine nje ukuthi bangakanani abazalwane eMlazi but bheka uMlazi kunjani. Bahleli lapha eSandton naseMhlanga. Just by the assembly of Christians, Umlazi could. I'm like the assembly of Umlazi Christians financially to sit and decide to transform Umlazi. It would make a difference. They've got a lot of money, abazalwane laba aba useless for the rest of us. They've got a lot of money, so their assembly could bring investments to Umlazi. They, as Christians, they've got a lot of money. They could restore the economic prosperity of local people, even in terms of iy'phaza abazalwane abathenga kula bantu bale nakubelungu nakumandi who look down upon their own brothers, and bazozijustify ukuthi poor quality kwasho cima. Really namanga, it's got nothing to do with poor quality. We respect our work thina. Bengirana futhi BNB mina, a decent one. Black South Africans have got no respect for black South African entrepreneurs. Nasidelela anifuna nokhokha nanani. Expect people to do you 5-star quality job and tentatively pay angazi mhlazana ucabange ukukhokha. You know, it's like hence the issue le yokuthi about a city of Johannesburg 2 billion rands has not been paid to contractors. It is black contractors who have not been paid. It's not white and Indian. Nabasabe belungu bona ngeni bahlonipha nize niyo support ama business abo benganibizanga, but disrespecting your blacks, Christian blacks are like that, but they're leading. Ngakubona nento eyi-1 aba-investor kuyo to fellow Christian businesses or to abantu bakuba abamnyama base-South Africa. The most selfish people I've ever seen. Islam is taking, it has taken the spaza industry. It's Islam which has taken the spaza industry because abazalwane, selfish pigs in the Church of God. You guys are selfish, self-centered pigs I can't stand. But siphoqa ukuthi fanele si-associate, but hey, uyasi-associate kodwa ubone ukuthi akukho bantu la. Uzuncamela abantu abayiphilela ngesintu than the so-called church, because I'm 51 years. In my journey inside church, I have hardly met financial love. I mean, I am a giver. You have given, don't worry. And even in tithes and offerings, I was very faithful, mina. Very. Uzibuze are faithful in tithes and offerings, but kubusiswa wicked Christians within the church, because you've got to be wicked not to be a giver, but you've got all the money. Or actually, giving is not everybody in the church is supposed to give, and you must do it cheerfully. It's not God who will force a cheerful heart in you. It is you who must teach your heart to be cheerful. So you can't excuse yourself, my heart is grumbling, so I'll wait until I'm cheerful. Who's going to teach you to be cheerful? Because you're supposed to teach yourself to be cheerful. But you must give. Lambisa befundisi. Bese ke laba abanye ke mabe shaya i-turn around bavele banikele ama-tithe nama what first fruit angaka only to pastors. It's like they are just wanting to be seen. Ngoba hayi eceleni kwabo kunabazalwane abalambile. Bona abazalwane bezoqoqa iy'mpahla zabafloods zaseMozambique. Uhlala eMozambique? Uhlala eMozambique? Uhlala eMozambique wena? Naku eceleni kwakho isizwe sakini samaZulu bayalamba abantu bakini bahlele emahostela, they are starving to 80% when useMozambique. Nahlanya nini and call yourselves Christians. Yes, I'm sorry. Sengivele bengithi ngizoba sorry ngiyaxolisa. No, I'm not. Let me return to this thing. Abazalwane ngicela bakhumbule ukuthi mabe gcotshwe uNkulunkulu ukukhanda imali akusimali yenu, alright, inkhona ingxenye yenu ne but nje kahle hle imali kaNkulunkulu, so you must administer the money as per the administration systems of the gospel. Zange imali kaNkulunkulu yaba yakho wedwa. Only a Christian witch thinks like that. So akwazi abafundisi bancenge ngemali nabantu abahluphekile benincenge ngemali. uNkulunkulu eniplace ey'ndaweni zokukhanda imali. Thina fa sihlupheke, nina nikhanda imali. Bese nizosimela lapha phambili esontweni lisho ukuthi umuntu akanga abheki imali nempumelelo yomunye umuntu akafocus kokwakhe. Isibindi eninaso. Ngikhuluma ngasikhathi umuntu olambile olala engadlile ngayizolo. Anideleli. Yazi yabo inkinga yokuthi umuntu okhule engena self confidence makezoba sesikhundleni noma abe nemali yo liyabhubha izwe lisho njalo neBhayibheli. Hayi no bafethu yo into eniyo is iyabinda. So I want to go to church, but yeah, understand mo uvela ubone yonke lento lena owawuyibekezelele uthi Jesu yini into engisazoyenza lapha really, because I feel abantu that stubborn futhi mabakhuza ngathi yababanga, because mina ngiyahamba even in front of church I rebuked for many years. Angeke bakulalele because bacanga ukuthi uyaba manipulate because naku usesimeni. And remember, it's not easy to even stand in front of the church and be speaking about these issues, especially uma vele usesimweni. Ngoba vele unaleyo attack yokuthi kuba ngazathi uzama ukuba manipulate, but we've got to speak the truth of God. So I spoke. Ngikwi position engakho right financially. I spoke. Nothing happened. At some point ngibaluleke ukuthi bazalwane azili isonto lapha eBhayibhelini uyabona ukuthi they even knew each other's skills. Hayi kwaba ngathi kulistwa ama skills awabazalwane esontweni ukuthi sazane ukuthi ubani unamaphi ama qualification or amakhono kanjalo. Kwaphelela laphi? engasishaya i-spreadsheet esihle-ke sama-skills ebandla lonke kwaphelela lapho. Church yo bese bazoba nalama group abo like they associate according to what people what they have. Mina ngikhula abazali bami bebavakashela abazalwane up to babeshona, like they were abantu ababahambelana noma beshonelwe and everything. I'll tell you, mina, there's hardly Christians that I've seen visiting my home since 1985. The original reason was politics, because they detested the fact that we are not ANC. First and foremost, in the 1980s, they stopped, because before then they were visiting, and then kwasukuba naleya political violence. Ngababona mina abazalwane beqela association yabo yaba political. So thina-ke besikula political organization cishe ukuthi abazalwane abawajaje ngokuthi awesihoko, kodwa-ke bona-ke bevotela ama-abortion, angazi ukuthi i-abortion votes imukisana ezulwini. So we experienced all those things and everything. So now sesikwisimo se lack yemali. Kubuhlungu ukuyuzwa uNkulunkulu to rebuke the church, as in uNkulunkulu sometimes abanye abantu yabayekelela ukuthi bangabi ngoba efuna ukutesta ikerk kuyakwenza. So uthola ukuthi some of us ngesikhathi, because I'm supposed to be very wealthy, futhi ngiyawazi ukusebenzisa imali. I've got people I can show you abakhiqizwe imadlana encane bengihola. That's all. I've produced great people out of the little that I had. Ninamamiliyoni nisizaba ngalo millionini. Ingakho so bhetela naye labantu abaphila impilo kaSathane bosomizi bezosibhedela. You guys, like ngazathi kuthathwe abantu abathakathayo kwaba yibo abazoba semalini, leadership and everything, because your hearts even inside the church are not Jesus' hearts. Angeke ube nemali kaNkulunkulu and look away at the state of Christians next to you. Ubone, ngangijoke ngithi uzobona thingabiza amasonto ngamagama, but ikhona isonto engilithandayo elilaphaya ephimvele elikhulu futhi awu2, alright, amakhulu engiwathanda, but ke uthi maseliphuma kisonto ngithi uzobona aba-rich bazojikela to the right, and then lezi ichakazela isonto zizojikela to the left. Akho association even inside the church. Singahlala next to each other in those church sing hallelujahs together, but the poor go to the left, the rich go to the right. Angithi vele nabafundisi bakhona babona abantu aba-rich, phela bahlale endaweni ezi-rich, so babona abantu aba-rich, so the rest of the poor people don't see them. So the setup South African church today it's just appalling. I can't stand it. But abantu abakhanda imali, they're self-centered. They think that money is theirs. They're supposed to be using the God money the same way umuntu ma uNkulunkulu emuphe izwi lakhe fanele alidistribute lapho. uNkulunkulu ebaphe imali fanele bayidistribute. Umuntu onikezwe i-gift ye-healing fanele alidistribute, ahile abantu. That's how God works. So laba bemali bayadelela abazalwane bacabanga ukuthi so bakhothamela, sikhulekile emakhosini abazalwane sizongceka imali. Yo, ngeke sikhona. So thina siyacela, so kuphakathi ka yebo noma cha ukuthi that we've got to beg you and then kahlehle in the Church of God I operate lesa sisho sesingisi sithi beggars are not choosers. We are children of God first and foremost, so we know what we need. So if you listen to Acts, they distributed to each according to their needs. Abadicided umuntu umzalwane esidecided athatha imali yakhe azosiphekela ukudla bese icelile ukudla. Mina ngishoda ngemali yokurejista esikoleni, wena uzongiphekela ukudla. I know my needs. You don't decide for me ukuthi which are my needs. Uzongifida isobho neSunday ucelwe yimi. Uma ingcele ukwenze ukuthi uzosifida isobho sishoda ngemali zokurejista ematheshari, hayi namanga. Yelana ukudelela abazalwane abanemali, nedelela. I mean, I'm not that kind. I don't respect people on the basis of what they have. I've got to respect people on the basis that they are God's people. So I don't worship people. So sincelile kuphelela lapho. And the reality is, whether you can call it mhlawumbe sesiya condemn, it's not condemnation, it is the biblical verse of Jesus telling the church. He was teaching the church ukuthi laba abanganikeli, abangasiza abantu abampofu, ushilo ukuthi abalibona izulu. Kusho yena uJesu akithi, akushongo mina. It's in the Bible. Uthi ngeza kuwe ngilambile. That's Jesus. He's talking to you. Niso stubborn ngiyona wasilaba verse make saya kuwo kuba ngathi sifuna ukunikhondem, anive nizogijimela ke ku Romans chapter 8 verse 1. Abazalwane, manje ngabana siza abampofu vele nizolimala, nizolahlekelwa isalvation. Iyalahleka isalvation kusho iBhayibheli. Yalahleka, ungalahlekelwa insindiso kanti ama antichrists yini la esifundisa ngayo eBhayibhelini. These are people who were Christians before. Iyalahleka insindiso. uRomans chapter Hebrews chapter 6 ukhuluma ngani kanti? Is this chapter 6? Naye yangibala ngathi chapter 6. Umuntu oke wataste igospel bese yahlubuka. Ithini? Ukuhlubuka kanti yini futhi? Ngoba yikho khona lokho uthi uNkulunkulu athi yenze nje wena wenze leya. So uNkulunkulu wakho wena awulalela uNkulunkulu. So we're supposed to beg you. No, I'm not saying abantu abalekhayo fana badelele kwabona and then kind of like make demands. We ask, iphelela lapho. Why are churches not having genuine systems of helping the poor inside the church or helping the needy? Because they're not necessarily poor, uthola ukuthi une-needy angaleso sikhashana. We've been available wanting to be heading such institutions, but if I'm heading an institution like that, man, I'm not going to be going to Abazalwane to beg them. We have got no duty to beg you. It is your requirement to give. Thank you.